I'm willing to bet that with a mouse, it's just the inherent better precision
It depends.
there.
From that era, sometimes they bake in mouse acceleration.
Uh, I could definitely see it in the case of Disney.
Yeah. Believe me, I've been
But
to that
anyway,
hell and I hate it.
like the game stopped working, and I don't know why. And it's not worth putting up fiddling about. Also, for like before that, my save got corrupted, so it was getting deleted one way or another, I guess. Like anyway, uh, I'm now playing, or I guess replaying Grand Theft Auto San Andreas because, well, I've been watching some videos for a potential guest for MSP, and um, did a number of Grand Theft Auto games. So that got me in the mood for a Grand Theft Auto game. And I picked San Andreas because that has actual controller support on the PC. Um, at least controller support that works. Like um, Vice City and 3 are it never got updated to like proper Xbox, or at least
Mhm.
X input. Uh,
Right.
and I and like Grand Theft Auto 4, I've never liked how that control and is horrible on PC. Like,
And I'm pretty sure 5 would just make your computer blow up.
not necessarily, but I hate that. I refuse to sign up to the Rockstar Social Club.
Valid.
So San Andreas it was, and you know, it's just as large as I remember it. Like, and it's as PlayStation 2 tastic as I remember it. The camera does want to cooperate at times. Um, anyway, maybe I talk more about it when we come back from break. I know we'll see. Anyway, so that's my news for the week. I guess the season. So merrily we shall roll along to the interview portion of the broadcast, and joining us semi regularly is our good friend from MangaGamer, John Pickett.
Oh, it's good to be back again.
Always good to have you. How are you doing tonight?
I've been doing well.
Mike, indeed, you've told us that you are expecting the birth of your first son
Yes.
soon.
I am expecting him early November. Technically, we had a couple of scares where he came close to being born a little early. So my wife is home on bed rest now.
Hmm. And have you picked out a name yet?
Yes, it's Fred.
Right.
Frederick.
Okay. Okay. Well, good luck to you, and hopefully, everything goes smoothly. And
That's what
by the
we're
time,
hoping.
by the time of the expectation date, because premature births are no fooling.
Yep.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we're gonna start with maybe unorthodox avenue, but I do have to bring it up because it just started. And have you seen any of 16-bit Sensation yet?
I did see the first episode of it, and it was quite. As someone who basically came into this industry around that exact time, the 1990s, that is like that's when I became a fan of it. So it's like yes, there was a lot of nostalgia there. So many members of our translation staff have already been talking about it and enjoying the nostalgia, and I will admit I have also painfully felt some of what they said in the first episode about how like gotcha games and light novels and all those have just been hammering at the visual novel industry lately.
Like, I was wondering how much truth there was to that because it's kind of hard for us to get a bead on the Japanese side of the visual novel industry. But
So
since
So there is a lot of truth to it. For the past at least 5, if not 10 years, there's honestly been a pretty large shift of just like a lot of the famous writers have gone on to start doing light novels because now that those have sort of taken off in Japan, um, it's quicker, easier. It's something that they can do kind of on their own, write their own stories.
Mhm.
So there were a lot of authors, a lot of good authors that have made the shift to light novels. I mean, God, what is it? The author of Lyresoft's steampunk series alone, the Argocthun and Sonanil that we've been publishing, that author has gone on to do many light novels, several of which are in the Type Moon, the Fate universe. They've
Mhm.
also done several original light novels. So, that's kind of like, it's good for them. They're doing well, but at the same time, it's like, well, okay, that does kind of mean a bit slower development for, you know, that studio that wants to try and, do the same thing. Even, I mean, you figure even Nitro Plus's author, Urobuchi Gen, he's
Mhm.
still doing visual novels, if I'm not mistaken, but it's kind of taken a back seat to him doing, novels like The Fate Zero or several anime like Madoka. So it's like a lot of the writers have gone off to those sort of slightly more, lucrative in a sense branches, and then like artists with the rise of gacha games. These gacha games need so much like art for their heroines, and they need different artists for each different heroine, and so it's become a huge source of freelance work for the artists. So that's why you see a lot of these, artists that maybe got their start in visual novels have also started just doing lots of artwork for gacha games. And so there's statements that hit hard and hit close to home.
And what about their pronouncements about the present day, 2023 visual novel industry?
I mean, I don't think it's quite as bleak as they point out, because there's still companies that are still trying to make
Mm.
more moe games and things like that. But you definitely feel it from companies that it's just not like, even if they're trying to make the same game, it's so much harder to break even on the kind of games that were popular back then. You know,
Mm.
like you figure something like Shin Koihime Muso is, I mean, Koihime Muso alone, the original was, I think, longer than Lord of the Rings in terms of sheer text volume. And then Shin Koihime was double that length. And, so then when they did another remake of Koihime, the Shin Koihime Revolution, technically it's longer, but they also split it up and sold it as 3 different products because otherwise it wouldn't earn money. Like, they couldn't sell those kind of long games
Mm.
at, they can't sell the long games at the prices the market is willing to pay and break even. So you are seeing shorter titles. You are seeing like a lot of them are still sort of the full length.
Uh-huh.
That's like the 600, 800,000 characters, but you're not really seeing the enormous epics like that anymore because the market just, there's not enough people buying it.
Mm. I'm guessing that also extends to like the elaborate CG cutscenes and you know fully song intros. Like,
I mean, yeah, like I said, it kind of goes back to the same thing of like I said, light novels, anime, gotcha games have been like, gotcha games need voice actors. So just as
mm,
it kind of takes the artists away, it takes voice actors away. It offers a lot of chance for new voice actors to break into the industry, those gotcha games. But there's no denying that's like, in the past, instead of doing gotcha games, they probably would have done visual novels.
very possible. And I suppose I also have to ask about their pronouncements of eroge. Like, also, is there an actual hypnosis MILF visual novel out there?
I'm pretty sure there's more than I can count.
That does not surprise me in the least.
At the very least, there are enough MILF games and enough hypnosis games out there that I would be absolutely stunned if there wasn't at least 5 that combined both of them.
I'm like, once again, having experience with the genre, it would not surprise me in the least. Like, if that were the case, like, and of course, I have to ask: were you surprised that rants came up in episode 1?
I was a little surprised that yeah, it was quite funny to see so many of the games that like me and my coworkers have actively worked on show up in that episode. Like I said, that was part of why we were all very much enjoying the nostalgia, because it's like, oh yep, here's games that we've done, games we've worked on. Yep, that's yep.
And going for 100 yen. Like,
oh my god, I've been to those. When I was in those secondhand shops in, what was it, 2000, not 8, yeah, 2008, I think is when I went there, and I picked up the first print edition of Comic Party for 500 yen.
Like, it reminds me of like when I picked up GameCube stuff from 2008, and it, pretty much the same trajectory in terms of price.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, they had Key.
Oh, of course. I mean, you really can't talk about it without talking about Kanan.
Right. Though Key did more than Kanan. I don't know. I always associate them more with Clanad. Like,
that's the one that everyone that got into it through anime, that's the one they associate with Key. Right. But I mean, honestly, Kanan is the one that actually shaped the visual novel industry.
This is true. You know, both are.
Isn't that also the one that had the hilariously proportioned faces?
They're all that way.
Yeah. So what it was is it's Clannad is the first time you see Key's new artist, and I think he did some of the supplemental characters there. But before that, it was all of Key's characters were the same artist, and that's why they all have that same kind of deformed face.
Yeah, I mean, and of course the Ugu.
Yes, that's very important.
Well, I mean, they mentioned it by name. Like, have you seen episode 2 yet?
I have not seen episode 2 yet. We tried to watch it this morning, and the Crunchyroll's having issues loading the subtitles, so we're gonna watch it later.
I won't spoil too much, but I'm not sure if you're going to have nostalgia for it because, well, basically they go into how they created visual novels in 1992. So
sounds about right.
It was, of course, going to come up.
Yeah.
Just logically speaking, given everything. But it's still interesting to watch. Like, especially since they picked an interesting time to go back to, because it's not like the late 90s, early 2000s, when the visual novel explosion really hit. It's the PC 98 days.
Yeah.
With the 16 colors, which they do bring up. And they bring up dithering.
Oh, my.
Secrets of early computer graphic design.
Yes.
Anyway, so I suppose we should press forward to what we have on hand this session, which admittedly isn't much, but I believe you are releasing Nightmare Cross Vampire Inferno of Retribution next week.
Yes, we are releasing it. Yeah, next week, the 19th.
Yes. Right. So, what's this one about?
So this is the third title in the Nightmare series. Basically, once again, the main character, along with Setsuna and Yuka, are traveling to a new city where there's been reports of demons kidnapping women. There, they encounter Rei, which is the new lead female of this chapter, who, for some reason, is able to exorcise the demons similar to the two sisters. Later throughout the game, you find out that's because she has vampire blood running in her veins.
Hmm.
And she is the, I believe, granddaughter of a Romanian vampire. And so that is what gives her the power to exorcise them. But very much like the first, they go up against the demons, they get captured, and lots and lots and lots and lots of gang rape ensues.
Like, so how does this compare to the other installments of the Nightmare series? Like, is it along the same lines? Are we catering to a different fetish here?
It's very much along the same lines. If you liked the first two, you're gonna like this one.
Okay. I'm like, is it like bigger than the other two? Like,
same general length.
Like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, other than like the choice of heroine, what would be the difference?
It's technically the third in the series. That's kind of about it. It's like, if you're coming here, you're coming to these games for, the cute women, the gang rape, the animated sex scenes, and that's what you're gonna get.
Like, it knows what it wants to do, I guess.
Yep.
And it does it well.
It has its audience and it caters to it.
Of course. Like, anyway, and I'm guessing this is like fully explicit.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like,
I said the sex scenes are animated, so there's motion in there.
Right, but mosaics and such.
Not in this release.
Okay, and too hot for Steam.
Of course.
Not a surprise, like, given what you've told us. And anyway, I suppose we have to get into the sexual details, as we are wont to do, since that's kind of the main selling point of a lot of these.
Oh yeah.
The
Especially this one.
eroge. Yeah. So
it's ero gay, not eroge.
Yeah,
it's
like,
the GE is short for game, basically.
It's difficult to adjust pronunciations, like, sometimes. Anyway, getting back to Nightmare Cross Vampire, like, so how many dicks are we talking about? How much penetration are we talking about? How many?
At least double-digit dicks.
In a row?
Probably.
I think there's probably several scenes where it's only single digit, but there's definitely at least some scenes where it goes up to double digit.
That reference doesn't really work here, because the answer is probably yes. No. And trying to think like how many girls are there? Like it's just the three
I
of them.
mean, the main three, yeah, the two that have kind of kept throughout the series, and then the new main one.
Hmm. And outside of the bundles of non-consensuality, what are we talking about in terms of fetish potential here?
Um, there's they did manage to add at least a handful of others. Um, the translator mentioned to me that there was at least one tentacle scene, at least one birthing scene, uh, some exhibition scenes.
Okay, like
Yeah.
something's missing here. I'm kind of stunned that it is. It's a vampire centric thing, so feeding,
You, you
siring.
you think.
Yeah, I would think, but I guess too obvious. I couldn't say, but that's what I think of when I think of vampire eroticism.
Hmm.
Uh, but mm, I guess if you're looking for
Well, that's like again, like I said, she's descended from a vampire. She's the granddaughter of one, so it's not like she's full vampire.
right, but you can make adjustments, or you can have a full vampire there. It's like
Yeah.
there are ways to work with it. Like the conversations we get into, like
I mean, some of these games, the vampires feed off, common set of blood. So
yeah. I guess it depends on how heavy they go on with the vampire
yeah.
portion. Like,
Yeah, I
anyway,
think they lean into it more as the source of her power and abilities, so they can have some nice fight scenes.
mm, yeah. Anyway, I suppose that does bring the question: how well animated are the sex scenes? I mean, are we talking about very fat, like a couple of frames here, or is there actual fluidity?
And when you're playing, it looks fluid, but I wouldn't say it's I would not say it's on the same level of like an actual hentai anime episode.
Hmm.
It's definitely much more like there is fluidity to it, but it's still very much kind of an event scene.
Hmm. Not too surprised there because it's like it is still a visual novel.
Yeah.
So, and is it pure reading material here, or do you have to make any sort of choices?
It's pretty much a straightforward storyline.
Hmm. Once again, not unexpected, considering selling points here. Like,
Yep.
seems to be less focused on romance than what we got on display here. Even though that doesn't have any choices, but
Yeah.
let's see. Is this the last in the Nightmare series, or are there more installments after?
I'm trying to remember. I think when we first licensed it, it was just the three, but I think they actually did release a fourth one recently.
Hmm.
I'm trying to double check now.
Live research. It
Yeah.
counts when the guest has to do it. Right. Anyway,
Mhm. Yeah.
got to fill the time so dead air doesn't happen.
Well, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks like the website is not accessible for some reason. So I don't
So
even
we'll
do
say,
not know.
yeah, so we'll say Nightmare Cross Griffins.
Yeah. I'm almost certain there is a fourth one that was recently released. I just forget the title of it.
I'm sure we'll be talking about it one day. Like,
Time will tell.
as I suppose it will. Like, see, and is what are we talking about in terms of voices?
So it is voiced. The main heroines are voiced, and you definitely get to hear them during all the sex scenes. None of the men are voiced.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, given that there's the focus on gang activity, there's there's no male point of view character.
So there is technically there's the main character Toma, who's the same one from the previous two. He's sort of the main male character that's on their side that helps them. Usually he's the one that ends up rescuing them in the end, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that when we were reviewing Uchikano a couple of weeks ago about the defining a main character who's not actually defined as a main character. I'm like,
Yeah.
and like Uchikano's protagonist, very much a main character, even though he doesn't have a voice or a discernible face. And they gave him a name. They gave him, wants, needs, dreams, and all that stuff. Very much a character versus, someone who's much more blank slatey.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you did mention another title a couple of days ago, but you said it would be going up for pre-order after the show. Like,
yes.
I don't.
Yeah. So we have obviously plenty of people have been looking forward to Higurashi from us. We have the last. We have the last part of it to be released. The actual Ho chapters, which have been expanded to include the Ho Plus chapters that were released after we first licensed it. That we will finally be putting up for pre-order next week, the same time that Nightmare Vampire goes on sale. So, yeah, finally got that through Steam review. They were really taking their time with it on us.
So you can get them both and it'd be one big spooky orgy, right?
Higurashi does not have any sex, which is probably for the best.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure the vampire one has enough to cover.
Yes,
probably. Right. And are there any other visual novels you wish to talk about at this point in time?
Those are the two big ones coming from us. We will probably coming soon down the pipeline after that is we'll finally see some movement on Sona Neil from the Lyrasoft Steampunk series. And those are the only ones I can talk to at the moment.
Right. Well, sometimes that occurs. Anyway, but it was still good to catch up with you and talk about the third in the Nightmare series with the vampires. How much is that going to be retailing for?
It'll be $30, same as the first. If you pre-order it now, you can get 10% off.
Okay. So look for that on the MangaGamer website. And John, we could have you back, say February 7th.
That sounds good.
All right. So until then, it was always good to have you on the program. And Petty, play us to the next segment. All right. Welcome to the topic of discussion. So, as teased by Petty Fan, I use the term "we" very loosely in this case because it's going to be mostly Petty Fan talking about the DLC of Sonic Frontiers, since he has actually played through all that and has opinions on that. So,
Yes.
wait.
All right. So overall, the how do I put my opinions on the DLC? Currently, the game is opening, so I'm just kind of filling time. um, I like the inclusion of the other characters, though the only one that really plays super well is maybe Amy, and that's just because she's Sonic with slightly different moves. But like, Knuckles is probably the worst out of all of them just because of what they did to his glide. Unless you get all of his upgrades, his glide decays way too fast unless you have max rings. Which, I mean, that's a choice. They made it, and I don't agree with it. The modding community will probably fix it later, like they usually do. Tails plays all right, but he does have a problem where he doesn't have his own homing attack. So, and in this game, a lot of the movement and platforming stuff is based around the fact that Sonic can home. Even Knuckles can do a homing attack, which is kind of weird, but and yeah, the most of the main island stuff for the other characters is fine. There are some weird decisions they made. Like, not all of the map challenges shows up for each character. So you have to keep switching around until you figure out who needs what, instead of it just saying, oh, you need to be Tails for this, or oh, you need to be Amy for this. Let's see. Honestly, my biggest issue is they took the criticism of the easy difficulty of the base game and overcorrected way too hard on it. Like, there are points where I had to turn the game down to easy because some of the challenges were just dumb. Specifically, this goes for the what do they want to call them? Guardian challenges, I believe they are, or like tower challenges, something like that, where you have these special fights with lowered stats. Like, even if you're maxed out Sonic, it will set you down to level 1 everything. Which, that would be fine if the enemies didn't seem to be tuned for a max level Sonic. So it's just kind of an exercise in frustration. But yeah, you can get through it. It's just a pain. Another thing that kind of sucks is the tower climbs for Sonic. Because I don't know if it's just the Steam version or what, but there is definitely a lack of polish in the controls that could have been excused in the base game, but here they're brought front and center, and it definitely shows. And the specifically the last trial is the gauntlet with the supersonic, and with anyone who knows how that works, playing a supersonic, your rings gradually decay over time, which it usually is fine, but part of the thing with the challenge is you don't get more rings, and they cap you at 400. So you essentially have 400 seconds to beat 3 of the 4 supersonic fights, which it's mostly fine except for the Wyvern battle, which is fight 2, is still very buggy. And there are some times when you do the stun for it, it will shoot Sonic off in a totally different direction, and Wyvern breaks out of the stun before you can get back to the boss, which is just not okay, especially when you're on a, strict time limit where in the base game you could just go get more rings, or your rings would at least be refilled by the end before the start of that fight. So that is definitely a problem. I hope they I don't know if they can really fix it at this point, or at least, give you just a bigger ring amount. And then once you defeat that, you technically can go do the final battle, where the story has changed slightly because, of course, it has. The whole premise of this is Sage basically has thought of a different way you can go about the events of the end of the base game. And it's all about exploring that different line. And there is a slightly different outcome that I'm not going to spoil. But it really depends on if they want to make this canon or not. Specifically which ending. But that's a whole thing for the Sonic lore people that we do not have the time to go into.
Technically, we do.
We do, but I imagine I'd probably bore you into a coma.
This is true.
But yeah, I guess one of the nice things is, similar to Sonic, the rest of the crew get different abilities. And even if you didn't unlock Spin Dash for Sonic in the base game, well, it's technically from the DLC, but the base game, they'll just give it to you at the start of this final story thing. So it is nice that, you're not expected to, either already have that, because you have to have the last island unlocked for this.
I was gonna say, doesn't the spin dash from finishing most of your upgrades or something?
It is, yes, it is. You need to complete basically all challenge. It's 100% completion bonus. So you would need to 100% the game. I think it's on extreme. You get it, or not extreme. One of the boss.
I think it just has to be hard.
It's not just hard, because I beat the game on hard and it didn't unlock it until I started I don't know.
Yeah.
So I forget the unlock criteria, but it's one of those that if you were to get it for the final thing, you would basically had to do, I think it was like 2 or 3 complete playthroughs of the game in order to have spin dash for the final battle or the final island, which would not have been great. Yes, spin dash is still broken as hell, but it's still buggy as hell too.
Yeah, the ability. I mean, you can go really fast in this game, which is one of my initial concerns with a Sonic open world thing.
Yeah.
And spin dash makes you go very fast immediately.
Indeed. Well, not just that. Sometimes it ignores gravity. Like if you go off certain slope angles, so that's something to think about. Because there have been times I have been shot off the map because of spin dashing. And yes, it sucks. And like one of Tails' upgrades is basically his boost gives him almost free flight. As long as you have boost gauge, you literally just hop in the tornado and you can fly just about anywhere, and you can also get infinite boost by making the infinity symbol with the psi loop, and you get like I think it's like 2 minutes of infinite boost. So if you want to like get around the stage, Tails is generally preferred.
Mm-hmm.
There is also new what are they called? Cyberspace levels, but they're only playable as Sonic. Let me go switch to him.
And you have to. He's the last one you unlock, I'm pretty sure.
In order to play through this, you don't pick who your characters you play as until you unlock the final battle. All the characters.
And Sonic isn't like the last one.
They switch
or is Tails after?
No, it's more they kind of cycle through them at least. I think it's once or twice.
Okay.
So
sorry, my most of my experience with this is from watching D-Pad Rick do it, and he's been having kind of a time.
Yeah, because
not being able to figure out where the heck to go, and also just Knuckles' controls are even harder than Amy was.
Yeah.
Although they did do some neat things with Amy's tarot card things.
Yeah. Do you want me to show off Amy first before I switch to Sonic and do any of the... Yeah. Amy's big thing is she can glide, which is cool. And she also has essentially a triple jump where if you jump up, use the bounce, you get a regular jump, and then her double jump. So that basically you could scale just about anything you need to in the game.
Yeah, every character has better aerial mobility than Sonic.
For the most part, yeah. And then
Amy's is actually the one that's surprising though, because she's never really been aerial before.
Well, it's like I think her whole thing with like the modern implementations of Amy, she basically now has a double jump.
Mm-hmm.
And while since Sonic usually has a double jump, now Amy gets a triple jump and a glide. Which it's funny because her glide is extensively
it's very good.
It's almost better than Knuckles, which is hilarious because that's what Knuckles is known for.
Knuckles, I think, if you have full max rings, his glide is theoretically never losing altitude, but also it's not easy to control. It's too fast.
But yeah, the without max rings, Knuckles' glide sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because that long startup animation. No, I do.
They also don't have Amy use her hammer that much.
I don't even think Amy's hammer is in the game.
It is for like 2 or 3 of her abilities.
Oh,
the stomp that you use is a hammer attack, and every character I believe unlocks something that they can do for a psi loop effect instead of running around it.
Oh,
and
Amy's parry
is
her
slam the ground with a hammer.
Yeah, Amy's parry
her parry is also batters up, which makes sense.
Yeah. So it is kind of funny they let Amy spin dash. Usually her whole thing is she can't spin dash well.
But yeah, it's just interesting. They did a lot with the cards, and the hammer has been kind of her main thing in most previous game appearances where she's playable.
Right. And then Knuckles. Oh, Knuckles. He doesn't even do that much damage, which is what you think he should, being, the power character.
Like, the idea here of his abilities is not bad, but the implementation isn't good.
Yeah. But yeah, like, you can see how bad that glide decay is. It's just...
The glide decay is bad. The turning while gliding is bad.
Yeah.
Knuckles is the one who's supposed to be good at climbing, but he's not. Or rather, he's too good at climbing. He climbs way too fast.
Yeah.
Like Sonic climbs fast, but that's because Sonic's climbing is mostly running up the fucking side of a building.
Mm-hmm.
Knuckles is still doing the digging his claws in thing, but he's moving almost as fast as Sonic does.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find a climbable wall. There was one around here. What the hell? But yeah, I would like Knuckles to get some patches because he's not great. Here's the
also
climate.
Apparently there's different midair glides between if you use the boost button and if you use the jump button again.
Yeah. But yeah. Just even tapping the controls, or like and
it matters because there are some like pretty tall midair things that they give you to climb up, and they are Knuckles colored, so he's the one they expect you to do it with.
Well, he's the red walls can only be climbed by Knuckles. Like if Sonic tries to go up, he just bounces off, and same with like Amy or Tails.
Mm-hmm.
I guess technically Tails could fly over them, but he's like the only one, and
you already said Amy can jump pretty high.
Yeah. She can't go as high as Tails can fly, though. Which is fair, because if that was the other way around, I would be very concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as vertical movement, Tails is the best. Then there's Amy, then Knuckles, and then Sonic. At least Sonic controls better than he did in Forces, because, oh god, that was a tire fire.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. One thing about fighting the boss character, or the little mini bosses, just don't.
Yeah, the enemies what get health bars that show up when you try to fight them.
Yeah.
They are not messing around.
They are balanced for a max statted Sonic. The other characters, even with max stats, don't have the damage output to deal with them. Like, it's possible, but you're gonna be there a while.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, let's see if I can go back to Sonic and do one of the cyber stages or cyberspace things.
And it seemed like the plot setup of this is that, like, at the start of the last island, instead of doing what you did in the main thing, Sage, possibly with, I don't know, some awareness of other timelines or something, recommends an alternate solution, and this is you trying that alternate solution that theoretically could have a better end result.
Yes. Like, we don't know if she's aware of what happened in the other timeline or not, or what? Like, that's... Again,
she said something about it hadn't even occurred to her until recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so who knows what that means.
Yeah, the world may never know.
Stupid living AI programs.
Yeah. Alright, so where's one of the cyberspace stages? Can I even fast travel in this? That's a thing I should probably figure out. No, I can't.
I think you can fast travel as usual after you've finished the map, which, haha.
Yeah.
That's part of the thing with this game. It's a lot harder to find the things you need to do to reveal the map in this, it seemed like.
Well, because they're not all accessible. Not every character can do all the little events to trigger the map. So you can rush right by them as one character and not realize, hey, wait a minute, there's one of those map challenge things here. Unless you happen to go that same route as a different character. And with as big as the map is, there's a chance you may not.
And with the architecture and stuff being not that distinctive in terms of set pieces, unless you're really good at identifying aerial rail courses from not the angle they were visible at when you were trying to do them.
Yeah.
Not being able to find the map pieces can kind of lead to some getting lost.
Oh, right. One of the cool things with the, I guess, cyberspace things is they're all different challenges. They're not just run to the end. They have different gimmicks. Like this one is the speed booster. Oh, well, crap. Yeah, it is.
And they're also not all. Are they all still? Or most still?
They're all still based off levels from other games. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because the original ones were all just, oh hey, look, it's friggin' City Escape or something.
City Escape, Green Hill. This is. I just realized what this one is. This is that level from Lost World. Huh. That's kind of cool. And yeah, the boost in the cyberspace stages still suck. Because you can't use your super power boost other than there's a way to unlock it for these stages, but it's a pain. It's one of those, it's better just mod. It's one of those not worth it type deals.
Well, and also some of the stages are a little bit awkward when the original version of the stage had a control gimmick that isn't present in this game.
Yeah.
Such as the drifting.
The drifting
they usually
here,
make it. I know they usually. I mean, they usually make them available, but the implementation can be kind of awkward because it's different from the normal controls in this game.
Right. But yeah, like the drifting, the quick steps, all still here. It's just, it's not implemented well.
Yeah, you can't do them normally, and the control was not designed with them in mind. So executing them is not as easy as it was in the source games, where like you were supposed to be used to it.
Right. And like, these levels are kind of cool, but with all, they're not, unlike the levels before, they're not really for you to just blitz to the end. They're more of find the other objectives and do those.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what the? Oh, I can't take those up springs. All right.
And some people have very, very strong feelings about Sonic games with objectives besides go fast.
I'm pretty sure watching Sonic carry another living thing immediately triggers 06 War flashbacks. Which I find that hilarious.
And this little rabbit thing doesn't even have the good grace to give you a power meter usage that lets you run on sand or whatever the fuck.
Or you know, just a full-on shield. Also, there are no rings here. I just realized that. What the fuck?
You don't get hit.
As I get hit.
Yep.
But yeah, these are definitely more Matrix exploring. But again, another problem with Frontier's cyberspace stages. I have no idea what's walkable ground and what's a background set piece. So there are times I'm thinking I'm jumping to a platform, but I'm actually about to fall to my death. And there's nothing I can do about that. So that's just this game problem that I hope they iron out. Because that, 3 games of that, because that was also a problem in Forces. So yeah, 3 games of that is just not okay. Would not be okay.
You gotta have an interesting skybox. Fill it with all kinds of abstractly geometric things that definitely wouldn't look like distracting or like something you should be able to interact with, except that this is Sonic the Hedgehog who interacts with that kind of shit all the time.
Yeah, this thing in front of me, if I didn't stop and see the scan lines, I would have no idea it wasn't real.
Yep.
And when you're going at full Sonic speed, you can't exactly stop and look, see, oh, that has some scanline things? It's not real? Okay.
It's almost like that was one of the issues that Sonic has always had and continues to deal with in the transition to 3D.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of times they would just handle it by, if it wasn't jumpable, you couldn't get that far.
Yeah, but then they made him like really fast and able to jump real high and boost.
Yeah.
Which is important for the open world aspects of this game, but also...
Yeah. Like, yeah, if I wanted to, there are ways I could easily launch myself to some of these little islands over there, but then I stop to see, oh, hey, wait a second, those don't actually exist.
See also the, at least part of the doylist reason why they don't let Amy, Knuckles, or Tails into these stages.
Yeah. Because I imagine Tails would die a lot here.
Uh-huh. Like Watsonianly, yeah, it's because Sonic is the only one who can escape from cyberspace, so he's the only one who goes in.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a glitch. Sonic is not supposed to be able to do a 90-degree turn like that.
Except maybe when he's being chased by a giant killer whale.
Yeah, valid. Yeah. The game is honestly held back by the lack of control polish for these stages, which is unfortunate. Because we've been doing boost generation stuff for how long?
When did Sonic Lost World come out?
Well, no, this is like gameplay stuff from Unleashed.
Yeah, it's 2008.
Yeah. So we're nearing 20 years of fucking boost generation bullshit.
Wasn't Frontier supposed to be the start of a new generation?
It was, but yet they still went back to the Sonic boosting formula.
Old habits can be hard to break.
The whole thing is this, the big gimmick is the open world gameplay is the main game, and these are just kind of like side level.
You gotta have Sonic go fast bits.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't be able to tell it's Sonic. It could be any colorful rodent platformer mascot.
Yeah, these are tantamount to the Mach Speed sections in 06. Which, if in fairness, those are probably some of the better sections of that game when they weren't broken.
So never? Rarely?
The first couple were fine.
Sorry, I just automatically think of Radical Train.
Yeah, no, Radical Train, there's a special place in hell for whoever did that one. Like, their tickets are already punched.
Friggin' whatever the whole city is on fire, flame tornado chucks cars at you from behind one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another one of those ones. It at least can work.
I think it's Crisis City.
Crisis City, yeah. Oh, look, rings.
It can work when you don't get when you don't get nailed in the back of the head by a car.
Yeah. So, most times it doesn't work.
So yeah, the controls are janky. The characters aren't balanced. So like top 5 3D Sonic games.
I mean, kind of like the game has its moments, which is what makes it so freaking hard to,
Mm-hmm.
kind of look at it objectively, because I don't know if I've made this clear or not yet. I am a very big Sonic fan.
Depending on how well they actually follow it up, some of the story arc stuff in this is legitimately very interesting.
Like I mentioned in the pre-show, this was actually written by the IDW Comics team. So the story is very good. It's just the problem is it still has the jank of a Sonic team made Sonic game. Specifically a 3D Boost era game.
Which is also just a lot of which is just endemic to trying to make the character go super fast.
Yeah.
When you have more than the 2 degrees of freedom that you have in a 2D platformer.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, you get going as part of the game design faster than the camera can follow.
Yeah. In
those games, you're either going on the ground or you got shot off the ground. There's no oops, when I was going super fast, I was accidentally slightly too far to the left, so now I'm completely off the level.
And it's in the classic era, speed was earned. They didn't just say, "Oh, you can go fast." You had to, get good, memorize your platforms, and then you can learn how to build up speed. Here, if you're not boosting, you very well could just end up dead. So that's always been a problem endemic to the boost generation. It always will be with just about every boost game. And I can't think of a way they can really fix this. Because they either need to make it where the game basically plays itself, which literally no one wants. But the problem is if you give us too much control, we end up falling down edges.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be an interesting conundrum to see if the community can kind of salvage this, because this game could be fun. I definitely like the free roaming sections a little bit more, except for the tower climb. There's a special place in hell for the second or the first and third tower.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And of course the ending, well, the music is, amazing as ever. Sonic games.
Sonic very rarely misses on the music.
Yeah, and if it does, something has gone horrifically wrong.
When we call that Crush 40.
No, Crush 40 music is sometimes decent. The Sonic game with bad music is friggin' Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood.
Sonic Lost
Sonic
World had the least amazing music. It was still overall good, but it definitely feel like
Sonic
it was.
Sonic and the Secret Rings disagrees.
I mean, I didn't mind.
Look,
the music
at least that's
Secret
still
Rings.
music.
Yeah.
And then they kept going at it with that fucking Seven Rings in Hand song.
Yeah, that's probably the worst part. I don't. Not every single song is great, but they're still mostly decent songs. For most of Sonic's
there are at least things you can
if I were to play this outside of the context of Sonic, outside of the context of a game, it would still be something you could listen to, which is more than I can say for a lot of games.
Mm.
And yeah, Supersonic's still janky, but I guess that's what comes with, trying to do even more free movement in, a Sonic game. Okay, yeah, this one's kind of annoying me. Sorry about that. And yeah, like, the game is overall okay. It just needed a little more time in the oven. But in fairness, I don't know how they could fix it. Like, we could say make the controls better all we want, but how?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go from here, because apparently they're already working on another 3D Sonic to come out next year. At least that's the rumor.
Sooner than I would have expected, but not unheard of.
Well, remember, Frontiers got delayed a few years, so it's quite possible that could also get delayed.
I can understand it getting delayed if only because of the volume of stuff they had to design.
Oh, yeah. There is definitely a lot of shit that went down here. All right. Oh, look. Combat. Let's... Oh, crap, this bastard. Wait, do I have perfect dodge on? What the hell? No. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Outside of whatever this is, the combat's fine, but sometimes it just wants to bug out, and I hate it. Sometimes you can cheese it in your favor, like if you do a well-timed dodge, you can actually avoid damage. And it's not like which time dodge, like there are ways you can actually just ground cancel the damage, which is interesting tech that I'd like to see a little more of, because it rewards, or at least helps save, decent players as opposed to not decent players.
Also, they had to do something to create a challenge when you can carry up to just less than 1,000 rings, don't lose all of them when you get hit, and can make more rings by running in a circle.
Yeah. Well, there is also the extreme mode, which can just go eat ass. Like, do not play extreme. It's not fun. It's the one-hit kill one.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, like 0 out of 10 would not recommend.
Unless you're the kind of Sonic player who thinks that everything here is just too easy for you for some reason.
Yeah. In which case, I question your sanity, mate. Like, I'm not terrible at Sonic, but even I have my limits.
Look, there are some people who just don't tolerate games that aren't stupidly hard.
Yeah. Sonic should never be a Souls-like, friends.
No, that was Crash Bandicoot.
Shut up.
Hey,
I am aware. I am aware of the meme, and it can still go straight to hell.
Oh, no doubt.
God damn it. Of course, when recording, I am bad. And watch, I just steamroll this thing out off camera.
I'm also not forgetting that you are talking while you're
Yeah.
playing.
Insert joke about the Let's Player curse. Like, yeah, this is technically a Let's Play, but...
Not a Let's Play, but, it still applies.
Yeah. Oh, right, the Phantom Rush thing. I totally forgot that was a thing. Yeah, if you do get a high enough combo, you can actually do, I think it's like 1.7 times damage. Like, random number for your damage multiplier, but sure game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the Korok slot machine thing. And of course, it has the Legend of Zelda-esque Blood Moon thing attached to it, where all the enemies respawn.
Starfall in the last Horizon thing is insane, though. In
Yeah,
terms of how much stuff you can get in one drop.
yeah, which makes sense because I don't believe you can actually access big.
Yeah, I don't think you can. It basically allows you to catch up with the other characters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your catch-up mechanic, which, that's fine. You can't make Sonic any stronger if he was already maxed from the main game, but... Like... How much more do you need, bro? Oh, and I died. Wonderful. Is there anything else we want to look at real quick?
In terms of what? Sonic Frontiers?
Yeah. Like,
I'm like,
I guess I could kind of show off the final battle, but that'd be huge spoilers.
let's not.
Yeah. Like, that'd be definitely one of the things if this was like a few months later. But yeah, this is like, what, 2 weeks old, if that?
Thereabouts.
So yeah, definitely leave something for the old imagination.
Mm.
But yeah, game's alright. It still suffers from the, again, bad controls, which... Hi, if this is news to you, you clearly have not played a Sonic game in the last 20 years. But yeah, any questions or comments from you guys on this, or?
Nope.
I think I've said pretty much everything I am aware of.
Yeah. And probably some you're not aware of. Wait, what? So, yeah.
I would hope you would be aware of what you're saying.
You never know.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that'll about do it for this installment and this season of Fragments of Silicon. Another one in the books, done and dusted.
Oh,
so, so once again, we will be on break for the next 2 weeks. And all our shows are coming back the week of November 1st. I have to say the week of because we always start with reviews. So until season 19, I shall wish you good gaming.